Treat is definitely a destination restaurant. We are not by a train station or a movie theater or anything of that sort that brings people around to this neighborhood. People really do come to this neighborhood for us. So we are pioneering on the west side of Chicago. Treat is a Nouvelle Indian restaurant. We bring in the vibrant flavors from India and we fuse them with the modern techniques and ingredients of the contemporary American cuisine. Indian food isn't really Indian food. It is based on so many different micro-ethnicities that are not only based on state boundaries but regional boundaries. So it is my interpretation of contemporary American cuisine with influences from Indian cuisine. Another reason why I opened Treat is because I live in the neighborhood. We are a local neighborhood BYOB restaurant, just one with a little more panache to us.
So Dan, you say that Treat is a delight for the taste buds. Tell us why you chose it.
I really love pleasant surprises. I think that's why I live my life is for pleasant surprises. And I actually, Treats in Humboldt Park, it's, you would say that it could even be called a hole in the wall, like a very small area. And so you don't expect much, I think, when you come in, but I believe that the chef there is creating flavors that are truly unique. Like you said, one of a kind, fusion influences of Indian into, I would say, American dishes. But there's always something surprising on the menu, not just for dinner, but the brunch menu is exceptional. And that was my first introduction to it.
At first, I wasn't sure what was happening. I said, okay, that looks Indian, but that definitely isn't. There's a samosa, but then there's some sort of roasted mushroom. And so I really wasn't sure what to expect, but when I got there, it's really what you said. They're Indian spices being incorporated into traditional, food. Like, I had the curried gnocchi. I wouldn't have ever expected to put any type of curry with gnocchi, as well as a spinach that was, the texture was perfect, because the gnocchi can be, kind of mushy, firm but mushy. But with the spinach that he added to it, it added some sort of kind of richness and texture that was just amazing. And everything was surprising. Definitely something that I couldn't have anticipated based on what I saw from the menu at the beginning. So
yeah, I think that he is, it's the kind of place that could be a total train wreck. We've seen fusion that can go right downhill, but in this case, you see things and you're like, uh-oh, but then you get them and you're like, wow.
They definitely really worked.
Well, Avidia, were you pleasantly surprised or horrified?
I loved the sauces. I loved the appetizers. Every single one of them, completely first rate. They recommended the fried calamari. And I was a little bit hesitant because I've had too many experiences where fried calamari has the taste and texture of a rubber O-ring. And it concerned me a little bit. But these were the best fried calamari I've ever had. The harissa aioli. That was my favorite. I think that may have been just my favorite flavor.
You could just have an IV hookup of it, right? Their sauces are incredible. They have the pakora pancake, which is another brunch thing. The two sauces that are served with it are delicious. I will say also the scallops, which are served as both an appetizer and a main course. I think they're better than the ones at CP, actually. Really? And, at a more reasonable price, they are absolutely divine.
The entrees, for me, left a little bit to be desired. I tried the chicken tikka masala. And it was a little bit strange because the chicken seemed overcooked, but the vegetables, especially the carrots, seemed undercooked. And the gnocchi, my experience with the gnocchi was actually a little bit mushy. So I can't say that the entrees were my favorites, but everything else there, including the desserts, I thought were absolutely first rate. And it's unexpected, you're right, because the place itself, from my perspective, in terms of the decor and all of that, wasn't really the reason. And that's not the reason you go, really.
Right, it's minimal.
And so it was a very pleasant surprise overall.
Any surprises on the dessert menu?
2 desserts were fantastic. First of all, I'd never had black pepper ice cream before. That in itself was incredible. But I think the most interesting one for me was one that I had never tried before. Apparently it's an old British kind of dessert, and it's called Spotted Dick. And
I had the Spotted Dick as well. I did.
It was outstanding.
What did you think
it really
of this?
was.
What did you think of the Spotted Dick?
I actually thought it was really good. Like you said, it was. The person who served me described it in the sort of an ancestor of a fruitcake, but it was not a fruitcake.
No,
I was
not
like,
at all.
uh-oh.
It was sort of a custardy sort of.
There were cherries,
pudding.
too.
Yeah.
Then the spotted dick itself was what? Like a sort of a pound cake?
Yes.
It is a traditional English pudding-type dessert, but it's made from rendered beef fat. And then the spotted part comes from the currants or the raisins, and then the dick part comes from that part comes from a traditional name for dogs in England. So they roll it up and it looks like a dog, and so spotted dick.
The price point is amazing, and I think that BYOB also gives people freedom. And there are people from Humboldt Park, Logan Square.
Right.
I think it's definitely like a hipster people. I love to sort of like bring some
Humboldt hipster.
love to Check Please. You know, like I think that there are people who watch Check Please of all ages, ranges, and whatever. And so it is a younger crowd sometimes, but I think that everyone is welcome.
One thing that was truly outstanding, the service. Our server was probably one of the friendliest, most gracious, just nice people.
I'm glad to hear that because that's been my experience as well. Like there's a sense of friendliness. The chef, when I first went there, came out and talked to us, and we had a wonderful talk with him.
Dan, you pick treat. Sum it up for us.
Treat is full of flavor, a pleasant surprise, unexpected high-end dining in a BYOB, incredibly affordable place.
Treat.
Great flavors, interesting location, low-key, but definitely worth making a trip out to Humboldt Park.
A video.
Fantastic flavors. My favorites were appetizers and desserts, and just the sauces and chutneys. I think it's worth going back.
Well, you can try the Fusion Fare for yourself at Treat, 1616 North Kedzie, 773-772-1201. They are open for dinner Monday through Friday and for brunch and dinner on Saturday and Sunday. Reservations are accepted. Alcoholic beverages are BYOB, and the average tab per person is $25.